Hello there, I'm David Smith, I'm the game developer on None in 3 and I'm working with Work Package 2. This is the January 2017 update and I'd like to show you where I'm at with two of the levels of the game. So first of all, let's show you a more complete level 2. If you don't remember from previous video, level 2 is the hospital level. It's where Diana, our victim in case 1, has experienced some violence and has now found herself in hospital with her family around her, including the one who actually, did that act of violence. So some of the ways that plays out between family members and the perpetrator are quite interesting to watch and experience. In this case, she actually plays a nurse, so I'm going to show you this now. I'm just going to show. It's quite a lengthy level, is this one, so I'll only show about a minute of this and then I'll move on to the next one. So we have like an opening sequence, like a title card as well, and what that does is that tells you exactly where you are, what time it is, sort of sets the scene a bit. So here we've got Kristen, who's the actual main nurse character, and the head nurse is obviously the one barking orders and telling you what to do. So you have the choice as to how you want to respond as the nurse. Do you want to be polite about it, or do you want to try and express your views in a different way? So in this level, the player is told that there's a patient in bed 5 that needs seeing to because they've heard arguing coming from behind the hospital curtain. So what you can do is you can go over to the bed view of the nurse's whiteboard, and it has all their names on, and you can look at bed 5. So here we've got bed 5, Diana Bradshaw. I think in the previous video we showed off this free camera as well. I feel like it's in a better place now in terms of navigation and how the player actually walks around the game. The player can also get it wrong. There are 2 different hospital curtains that they can open. It's like, oops, that's not bed 5. Just a little something to make the player have to actually think, which bed is it exactly. So here we can see there's muffled arguing. You slide open the curtain, and Teresa is arguing with Rondell. So this plays out quite a bit like a cutscene in a traditional game. That's just because there's so much going on and there's not necessarily a sequence that you yourself as a nurse would interact with until you felt like it was getting out of hand. And this is just about Teresa expressing that she's unhappy with the way that Rondell's treating Diana. Also, we now have head looking in. Can't remember if we mentioned that in the last month. So all the characters will now look away and look in the direction of whoever's talking. At this point, the player can choose who to talk to. So choose to talk to Diana, and then it plays through that sequence. And there's lots of different conversational prompts as well. So you aren't tied into you click on one character and that's it. You actually end up having to talk to all of them to get elder perspectives. And Kristen, will talk to them all in different ways, and you can ask them all sorts of different questions too. So there's a little bit of variety in there as well. So here there should be another dialogue prompt coming up, and you can ask one of 3 possible question prompts. Now, one of these is the important one, which is ultimately, were you hit by someone? Because she needs to know that in terms of, do they need to escalate this and get perhaps other services involved instead of just nurses and doctors. And it plays out all the way through this entire scene, and eventually the family leaves and you get a chance to talk to Diana one-on-one. The whole sequence works. We're still working a little bit on the outdoor visuals, because one of the things we realised is we'd designed this game, these 5 levels of Case 1, on these beautiful islands of Barbados and Grenada, or at least based on some combination thereof. And unfortunately, we set most of it indoors, so the first level is all inside Rondell's house, so you don't really get to experience, how beautiful those islands are. Level 2 is all in a hospital ward, so what we've started to do is we've added big sweeping windows, and you're going to be able to look out at those, and you'll see hopefully some beautiful trees and some foliage and some scenery, and that should be a lot nicer. And so on and so forth. So basically this entire level now fully plays out. You can explore around the nurse's station. If you click on your lunch, the nurse goes, oh man, I wish I'd had lunch already, but busy day unfortunately for the nurse. So yeah, so that's level 2. We've made significant progress on that. Visually, it just needs a little bit more set dressing and the external environment, as I've just said. And then there's level 3. For those of you that don't know, level 3 is the school level. So in the school level, you play as George, who is Jessie, the child's teacher. So this is the school environment. It'll probably look a little bit different from this when we're actually finished and done with it. There's several reasons for that. We found that at the moment it doesn't run very well on lower end computers, and that's because this is basically what a modern game would look like, but that's a modern game for brand new modern computers. So what we're going to have to do is, get in there and hide the things that aren't visible and all that sort of stuff. Optimization, just to make things run a little more smoothly. So this is the school environment, and I'll just show you quickly while I'm at it. So you play as George, and here's George. It's just a teacher. I based him off of several photographs of older men and teachers in Barbados and Grenada. And in this level, you're going to be able to sit down at your computer desk and look at your emails, which I will show you very briefly now. So this is kind of like, whereas it's the head nurse that, gives you an idea of what you have to do in level 2, in this level, George goes, hey, I should check my emails. And in there, you'll find a message from a social worker with some advice and a big red button that says, print this board game. Then you go to the printer at the back of the room, print the board game, and then you get to play the board game with Jessie. And you will actually be able to roll the dice by dragging the mouse and throwing the dice. What we're currently doing for the next month or so is building some bit of new technology in order to handle all the sorts of events and the things that can happen that the player can do, because the current systems, they're just a little bit slow, so we're going to spend a bit of time working on that. We're also going to get level 3 up to scratch, so level 3 will have all the events in. You'll be able to welcome Jessie into the room, search through the filing cabinet for information about Jessie, and then, like as I've said earlier, play the board game and so on and so forth. And hopefully by the end of the month we'll also have blocked out the level 4, which is the pool hall. I've also recently been informed that the voice recording, so all the voice acting, has started and should be finished in a matter of a week or 2, which is great news because it means that we can go back to levels 1 and 2 and 3 and get those voice lines in there, make sure the timings are a little more accurate to what the people would say, because at the moment I've guessed how long the voice lines are, so it's going to be great to get back into those levels and make them feel even better. Once I get the voice working, it's going to feel so much better, and then I can tie the animations to it. Ultimately, it'll feel a whole lot more convincing, will the performances, because at the moment a lot of the animations are kind of just to nothing. There's no voice, there's no timing, there's no sense of pace, so that's going to be a huge help. Just trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, I'm very interested in getting to the pool hall level, because you're going to be able to actually play a little game of pool. So I'm hoping that I can get this technical milestone out of the way and then finish level 3 and get onto level 4 by the end of the month. And I did obviously finalise the dialogue scripts. So the first 5 levels, all the dialogue is written, it's finalised, and will very shortly be recorded. And that's pretty much it in terms of what's happened this month and over the Christmas break on None in 3. So Happy New Year.
Well, the reason for us meeting today is one of the things we want to work on over the next few weeks, months possibly, is a website or a web page for children and young people. And I know that Daniel's got some ideas about this. First of all, just to say we do have some apologies from Jill, who's going to join us, Rami, who's on holiday,
and Sue has a hospital appointment that's turned up as well.
Okay. So this is the team that really needs to put together its ideas for the children's web space. Before I asked Daniel to talk through some ideas he might have, I thought it would be a good idea to start with thinking about what is the purpose of having a children's web space. What is the purpose of this page attached to the None in 3 website? And I don't know who wants to kick off what you think might be the best use or its purpose
Okay.
for us.
I feel like, so these kids are going to play the None 3 game whilst in the classroom, and the game's going to have some like reference to real world organisations and some advice for certain situations. But they might not be able to remember or retain all of that information. And I sort of see the None 3, like the young area of the website, being a way to supplement that and have almost reiterate some of the same information. Perhaps explore some of the environments and backstories of the game a little bit more. You're seeing this more and more, including in mainstream games. I don't know whether it's a good idea on that side, but there's a game called Destiny, and you have to read the story on the internet, which some people like and some people don't. But it's a great way to like reinforce some of the messages and ideas that we already putting into place with the game. And well, that's where I see it from the perspective of the game. I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of other things that the website can do, but I just think it would be a good idea to sort of like extend in a way what the game does and have a way to access some of that information outside of what the game currently allows people to do.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a way of specifically delivering content to that age group in a way that they understand,
Yeah.
that relevant.
I think, from my point of view, and I'm broadly in agreement with what Dave says, but from my point of view as web designers, it's obvious that the website itself is aimed at adults, and it presents information to support adults, but it also presents that information in a way that's tailored towards adults, and we don't have something that presents information that's relevant to younger users, but also in a language that's more appropriate for younger users as well. So from my point of view, that's what's missing. So if we can do something that addresses that need, but also does it in a way that integrates with what you're trying to achieve with the game as well, then I think that would be good. But also I think what I'd like to do with the website is that we have a specific section that's tailored specifically towards the development of the game. So if there are people who are interested in that side of it, and I'm sure there'll be younger users who will be interested, but also older users who are interested in video games and development, then we've got something there that we can direct them to as well. So we've got kind of two strategies there, which they'll overlap in some respect, but we'll have the thing that makes sure that we have information that's tailored towards younger users, and we'll also have information that promotes the game as well. So, yeah, that's my idea.
My thought was that it would be useful to have a place where we could include information on where they can go for more help or support or other places to refer them to. We don't appear to have anything like that available, so it would be nice to have that helpful area that's there. That I see that once we've set it up, it's not going to need a lot of maintenance, it's not going to change, but we haven't got that there, again, in a language aimed at children and young people.
I think the other thing is if people learn about issues, it's like the difference of showing a kid an academic paper and showing them GCSE bite size. It's like there's a massive difference in the content, the structure, and the formatting, and the way that information is delivered. And we're very, very serious and upfront about the issues, as we have to be with the main None 3 website. But we have to obviously communicate those ideas very differently to a younger audience.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the ways that we make it engaging is that we, rather than just straight lists of facts about contact this person, if we've got this kind of these little stories behind it that integrate with the game, then that will make it more personable and accessible to younger users as well, because it will give them characters that they can identify with and make the information just that bit more engaging.
All right then, I mean, I don't disagree with anything that's being said, but it seems to me that we have, I think, 4 primary objectives then. The first is, as Paul has outlined, we don't have a children's stroke young person's presence to the external world, and that is missing. So we need to correct that. Not that it's a problem, but we need to do that. The second objective is we need to provide more information to support the game. In other words, backstorying the game, more information around the case studies that we're using, as a kind of supplement. And I think, especially in the Caribbean context, where young people may not have access to the game, but may have access to the internet to be able to see the website, teachers may be able to use it to supplement their discussions with young people about game exposure. So we want to have, our second objective then is really about providing some more scaffolding for the game itself. Yeah. The third objective is, again, something Paul raised, was to have an aspect of the page which is actually about game development itself, so that it's not just about the story or the case study or the issues, but actually how does one go about creating a game like this? That there's likely to be a whole lot of interest in that, so that we should have that as a feature as well. And then Vicky's outlined the importance of providing information for young people, where to go, what to do, who to talk to, how they can access help, that we make sure that that's all there. And Daniel's making the point that we have to find ways to do this that are engaging with young people, that are appropriate, that are accessible, that are relevant in terms of also the cultural and social context in which we're working. Although a website is internationally available, we want it to be very relevant. As we've designed the game to be relevant to the Caribbean context, we want the website to mirror that, so that we need to make sure that our images are representative of Caribbean images and realities, without getting too stuck in that. So I think that's really helpful. The next question is, what age group are we targeting the web page at?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking in terms of the website itself, we're probably even looking at a younger age group, say 7 or 8 upwards.
You might be right there, yeah.
So this idea of avoiding the kind of explicit content and focusing more on how to deal with the situations themselves is probably a good way of doing it. And then it's just thinking about, can we do this in a kind of designed way, so we don't explicitly say if you're this age you have to go here, but we make areas that are attractive, or can we just do something that's generically attractive to all the age groups and will meet their needs? And I'm guessing, I'm thinking more in terms of the kind of information that we put on there and the way that we organise it. May be that if we've got a child who's in distress and wants to get to that, the information to get help, then we can signpost them one way. If we've got a child who wants to explore the issues because they're involved in something, or it may be a friend or a relative who's involved, then they can move that way to look at it. And then if there's somebody else who wants to look at kind of more educational resources around the whole area, then we could guide them off that way. And hopefully that would account for all the age groups.
Right. Okay, in terms of just putting this together, I'm going to send you some children's websites, and you'll identify probably some others. Dave is going to send you any visual information that he's got to hand without having to do any additional work.
Yeah.
I'm going to write Jessie's story by February the 15th.
And I'm going to send you the scripts to help with that.
And you're going to send the scripts to help with that. I will consult with the other 3 subject experts on this and make sure that they input into Jessie's story. That will be done by the February the 15th. I think by the end of February, if we're planning on meeting at the beginning of March to review where we're up to, I think by the end of February you probably need to have the content, the other content, the awareness raising content. So I probably need to write that by the end of February, okay?
Okay.
I mean, hopefully nothing will get in the way and these things will be possible.
Okay.
But we don't have any internal deadlines or even external deadlines pushing this piece of work.
No.
I'm just trying to, and if we think that this is really putting us under too much pressure, we can put it back.
Yeah.
I'm just mindful of the fact that Daniel is with us for it, and I think probably till July.
September. Well, end of August.
End of
End of
August,
August.
Yeah, and this is key work. Daniel's making a major contribution to this work. So I'm making sure that we have everything. You see, your timing actually is going to fit very well. So that
Yeah.
we'll probably have a launch of the children's website, and we'll tie that in with
The
some
game will launch
media
in
presence.
September, and the
Yeah.
website will launch, I guess, just before that.
So,
Probably.
so is March okay, or should we push it back to say to the 1st of April?
Well, like I
Can
said,
we-
I
can
can
we-
give you placeholder content,
Yeah.
but that probably won't be the final content, so that will be the case.
That's fine.
Because I'm thinking it'd be really nice to do little things like if you're looking at it on a computer, I can separate out the characters from the backgrounds, and then you
Yeah.
can have 2 layers. Then when you move your mouse, you can just have that little bit of movement offset. I don't know. It's a nice little visual trick, but it's again it's a nice.
Parallax background.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God, I love that.
12:30 on Wednesday, the 1st of March. If I
Excellent.
send an invite.
Yeah,
Thank
that'd
you.
be smashing.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you found it as useful as I did.